10 most expensive guitars in the world history. 1. Jerry Garcia's custom, Doug Irwin Tiger, price, $957,000. If you've ever listened to any Grateful Dead songs from the 1980s, chances are you've heard the sound of Jerry Garcia's Tiger guitar. It was his most played instrument from 1979 to 1989, and remained a regular part of Jerry's repertoire until the end. In fact, Tiger was the guitar Jerry played during Grateful Dead's final concert at Chicago's Soldier Field on July 9, 1995. Jerry first played Tiger Live with the Grateful Dead on August 4, 1979, at the Oakland Auditorium. Interestingly, that night also marked the first time the Grateful Dead performed future mainstays, Althea and Lost Sailor. Tiger is a custom-made guitar crafted by luthier Doug Irwin, the third guitar made by Doug Irwin that Jerry owned, following Eagle and Wolf. When Irwin delivered Wolf to Jerry in May 1973, Jerry was so pleased with it that he immediately requested Doug Irwin to build another guitar for him. Doug Irwin spent over 6 years and 2,000 hours working on Tiger, finally delivering it to Jerry in 1979. The guitar is beautifully handcrafted with exotic hardwoods, laminated together in a technique known as the alembic hippie sandwich. Tiger has a Western-style guitar neck and a tiger inlay right on the fretboard, hence the name Tiger for the guitar. The guitar is extremely heavy, weighing over 6 kilograms. Inside Tiger, Doug Irwin used state-of-the-art technology at the time, and it had all the bells and whistles. Part of this was a unique wiring diagram that allowed Jerry to send the full volume even when he turned down the actual output volume on the guitar. Jerry played Tiger almost exclusively until 1989, when technology had advanced enough to integrate MIDI synthesizers into a guitar, allowing Jerry to create guitar sounds like other instruments. 2. Blackie Stratocaster Hybrid, price, $959,000. In 1970, Eric Clapton switched from Gibson to a Stratocaster, influenced by guitarist Jimi Hendrix. Eric Clapton bought 6 Stratocasters for $100 each at a store in Texas. He gave 3 of them to Pete Townshend, George Harrison, and Steve Winwood. He kept and used the other 3, and one of them became known as Blackie. Clapton first played Blackie in January 1973, and he continued using it until his retirement in 1985 due to neck issues. In 2004, this guitar was auctioned for $959,000, making it one of the most expensive guitars ever sold. Blackie is perhaps the world's most famous guitar. Eric Clapton assembled Blackie from parts of 3 different Fender Stratocasters. Over the years, Clapton referred to Blackie as a remarkable guitar and a part of me. Blackie served as Clapton's studio and main stage guitar from 1970 to 1985. The guitar made its debut at the Rainbow concert on January 13, 1973, Clapton's first show. He played a Les Paul borrowed from George Harrison in the Late Show. Blackie was not played after 1985, after many years of service in the studio and on stage. Blackie was not only used in the studio for every album recorded during that time, but it was also used in high-profile events like the Arms Benefit Tour in 1983 and Live Aid. Blackie was also used in Eric Clapton's first music video, Forever Man, shot to support his album, Behind the Sun. Blackie was used in television commercials for Honda automobiles in Japan in 1990 at the company's request. Blackie also served as the model for Fender's Eric Clapton signature model Stratocaster product line. 3. 1964 Fender Stratocaster Bob Dylan played at Newport Folk Festival. Price, $965,000. Bob Dylan's sunburst Fender Stratocaster made rock music history when he played it at the 1965 Newport Folk Festival. Nearly 50 years later, the guitar created another moment in a New York auction when it sold for nearly $1 million, one of the highest prices ever paid for a guitar at auction. With this price, the 1964 Fender Stratocaster became the most expensive guitar in the world. The 1964 Fender Stratocaster is the first electric guitar Bob Dylan played in a live performance, signifying its historical importance. The Newport Folk Festival in Rhode Island was a pivotal moment for Dylan, marking his transition from acoustic folk to electric rock. The audience was accustomed to his acoustic renditions of all his songs, and they were in for a surprise when he took the stage at the 1965 Newport Folk Festival. Dylan's performance and his choice of guitar marked a shift towards using more electronic instruments. Estimated before being auctioned by Christie's, with its original black leather strap and hardshell case, the guitar was valued at $300,000 to $500,000. The previous record for a guitar sold at auction was Eric Clapton's Fender, nicknamed Blackie, which sold at Christie's for $959,500 in 2004. The 1964 Fender Stratocaster had been in the possession of a New Jersey family for nearly 50 years. Dylan left it on a private plane piloted by the late father of the owner, Vic Quinto, who used to work for Dylan's manager. (4) Keith Richards' 1959 Les Paul. Price: $1 million. Keith Richards is most commonly associated with playing Fender Telecasters, but during the early years of the Rolling Stones, one of his primary instruments was the 1959 Gibson Les Paul Standard Sunburst. Keith Richards' guitar is a 1959 Gibson Les Paul Standard. The guitar was originally purchased in March 1961 from the Farmer's Music Store in Luton, United Kingdom, by John Bowen, a guitarist for Mike Dean and Kinsman. Bowen had a Bigsby vibrato installed on the guitar at the famous Selmer guitar store in London. Eventually, he traded the Les Paul at Selmer to get a Gretsch guitar by late 1962, where the guitar fell into the hands of Keith Richards. Keith's Les Paul continued to be his primary guitar choice during the early years of the Rolling Stones, taking it on the band's famous U.S. tour in 1964. Millions of American audiences were introduced to Keith and his Les Paul when they first appeared on The Ed Sullivan Show. Keith also used the guitar to record some of the Stones' early hits, including Little Red Rooster, Time Is on My Side, The Last Time, Get Off of My Cloud, Let's Spend the Night Together, and most famously, Satisfaction. Keith Richards' 1959 Les Paul is the seventh most expensive guitar in the world. The 1959 Les Paul Standard is valued at well over six figures on its own, without the help of a famous name, and there are fewer of them around today. However, this particular guitar was played by Keith Richards during the Rolling Stones' debut performance on The Ed Sullivan Show, a significant moment in the history of rock and roll. Many bands and famous artists owe part of their success to having a spot on The Ed Sullivan Show, and collectors, as well as memorabilia investors, understand how such events can significantly boost the value of items like Keith Richards' 1959 Les Paul. With that in mind, the guitar was auctioned in 2003 for $1 million. 5. 1958 Gibson Korina Explorer. Price: $1.1 million. The Gibson Explorer was ahead of its time when it was introduced in 1958, with only 19 guitars produced that year, but it has become highly sought after since. The classic features of the Explorer have been carefully recreated in this historic reissue model. The 1958 Explorer features a solid Carina body without weight relief, providing a focused mid-range tone similar to mahogany. The neck is also made of Carina, with a thicker profile for an extremely comfortable and excellent rhythm playing experience. The Gibson Explorer had a completely new and pioneering design, years ahead of its time. When released, Gibson received mixed reviews about the futuristic guitar design. However, in the years since, the Explorer has become one of Gibson's more popular models, with players like James Hetfield Metallica and the Edge U2 appreciating its unique design. The 1958 Explorer stands out with a one-piece Indian rosewood fingerboard with a 12-inch radius, making it fast and easy to bend large strings. The 1958 Gibson Korina Explorer is the sixth most expensive guitar in the world. The value of these 1958 Gibson Korina Explorers may partly be due to being played by three of the world's most outstanding guitarists. Slash, Kirk Hammett, and Rick Nielsen have all played this guitar at some point in their careers, which is quite unique, to say the least. Only about 10 of these guitars were ever produced. So when you combine the rarity and distinctive shape of this guitar with its player history, it's easy to understand how it managed to fetch $1.1 million at auction. Six. Bob Marley's custom-made Washburn 22 Series Hawk. Price, $1.2 million. Bob Marley's Washburn 22 Series Hawk guitar, owned by the reggae legend, is ranked among the most expensive guitars in the world. Valued at $1.2 million, it holds the fifth position in the top 10 rankings on the website richgorilla.com. It is believed that Marley gave this guitar as a gift to his technician, Gary Clausen. According to Guitar World magazine, a Yamaha SG-1000 electric guitar, believed to have belonged to Marley, was auctioned on November 24, 2008. At the time, it was reported that guitar collectors were expected to bid between $30,000 and $40,000 for it in the Christie's auction. The Washburn 22 Series Hawk guitar was given to Marley by Yamaha during a visit the reggae singer made to the company's factory in Hamamatsu, Japan, as part of his world tour. Accompanying the guitar for auction were photos of Marley performing concerts in Tokyo and Osaka. To commemorate the 30th anniversary of Yamaha's SG-1000 and SG-2000 guitars in 2007, the company introduced the SBG-1000 and CBG-2000, exact replicas of the famous predecessors. They were handcrafted by Yamaha's renowned artisans at the Music Craft Workshop in Hamamatsu, where the company manufactures top-quality musical instruments. Bob Marley's custom-made Washburn 22 Series Hawk was designated a national asset by the Jamaican government. It is one of only 7 reggae guitars. After a performance in Vancouver, Marley gave this guitar to Gary Carlson, a technician, with the words, "Take it, and you'll understand later," on November 21, 1971. Carlson saw Bob Marley's custom as a gift to make the world a better place. He founded the charity Different Roads, One Destination, and regarded the guitar as a lottery prize for the winner. It is valued at $1.2 to $2 million, a hefty sum for a guitar. Seven. Jerry Garcia's Wolf. Price, $1.9 million. For millions of passionate Grateful Dead fans, there's only one Wolf, the legendary guitar of Jerry Garcia. Customized by luthier Doug Irwin and labeled as D-Irwin 001, Wolf was presented to Jerry and made its debut during a Grateful Dead performance in New York City in 1973. Over the following 2 decades, Wolf became nearly as famous, as it was played in countless concerts and precious recordings throughout Jerry's legendary career. Director Jerry's 1977 film, The Grateful Dead Movie, even features extensive footage of the beloved musician on stage with Wolf. Many years after the musician's passing, Wolf returned to Doug's possession and was sold in a 2002 auction by Guernsey held at NYC Studio 54, where it fetched nearly $1 million, more than doubling the existing world record for any guitar ever sold. Now, the buyer of Wolf, with the desire to support important efforts by the Southern Poverty Law Center and the ongoing fight against racial discrimination and hate groups, has returned Wolf to Guernsey's for auction. The proceeds from the sale of this special guitar will be donated to the Spelk. The event is further supported by the Relics Group. The second guitar of Jerry Garcia to make it onto our list of the world's most expensive guitars is another custom instrument by Doug Irwin, known as Wolf. Similar to Doug Irwin's customization of Tiger, its name is derived from the custom Wolf artwork on the guitar's body. The sale of Wolf is part of a fundraising effort for the Southern Poverty Law Center, with a price tag of nearly $2 million. The auction of Wolf took place just a few days after Amazon released a documentary film produced by Martin Scorsese about Jerry Garcia. 8. Jimi Hendrix's 1968 Stratocaster. Price: $2 million. A classic Stratocaster guitar, right-handed, with an Olympic white finish, may not seem particularly special when compared to some other guitars on this list. However, it was played by Jimi Hendrix at the Woodstock Music Festival in 1969, where his legendary performance of The Star-Spangled Banner took place. Due to its unique history, Paul Allen, co-founder of Microsoft, purchased the guitar in 1998 for approximately $2 million. Jimi Hendrix's 1968 Stratocaster is the guitar made by Jimi Hendrix at Woodstock in 1969. The guitar was given by Hendrix to Mitch Mitchell in 1970, who held it until 1991. At that time, it was auctioned for £198,000 to Gabriele Anzalone, an Italian television host and music critic. It gained further notoriety in 1990, when it appeared at the opening of the new Fender Artist Center. Later, it was sold at Sotheby's for $198,000. The white guitar that Jimi used from around April 1970 has a scratch on the body, clearly visible in photos compared to the smooth white finish of the guitar. Jimi's estate found two guitars in the Electric Lady studio during the time of his passing: a sunburst Stratocaster, the subject of an auction, and a white Stratocaster. It's believed that Paul Allen of Microsoft paid $2 million to acquire this guitar. In 1998, it became the most expensive guitar in history, second only to the guitar below. 9. John Lennon's 1962 Gibson J160E Acoustic-Electric. Price: $2.4 million. The only acoustic guitar to make it onto the list of the world's most expensive guitars is John Lennon's 1962 Gibson J160E Acoustic-Electric. It is one of two nearly identical Gibson J160E Acoustic-Electric guitars purchased by Beatles manager Brian Epstein for Lennon and George Harrison on September 10, 1962, at Rushworth Music House in Liverpool. Lennon used this guitar for songwriting alongside Paul McCartney, composing Beatles classics like "I Saw Her Standing There," "She Loves You," and "I Want to Hold Your Hand." The Gibson J160E acoustic guitar was long lost from John Lennon's possession, which he used during the recording of the Beatles albums Please, Please Me, and With the Beatles. After the Beatles performed a concert in 1963, the guitar somehow went missing and was believed to be lost. However, it resurfaced several years later. Originally purchased for £161 in 1962, the acoustic guitar was auctioned off in 2014 to an anonymous bidder for $2.41 million at Julian's live auction. After being lost for over 40 years, it was sold for 3 times the initial estimate of $800,000 to an undisclosed buyer. 10. Reach out to Asia. Fender Stratocaster. Price: $2.7 million. The title of the world's most expensive guitar belongs to the Fender Stratocaster. Reach out to Asia, which was sold for $2.7 million in 2015 to raise funds for a charity program established to assist the victims of the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami. Reach out to Asia. This guitar is the result of Bryan Adams' Reach Out to Asia project, which was created to aid the victims of the 2004 earthquake and tsunami in the Indian Ocean. This disaster claimed the lives of around 230,000 people in 14 countries. This record surpassed the previous guitar sale record by over $1 million, previously held by Eric Clapton's guitar sold in 2004. The Fender Stratocaster Reach Out to Asia guitar is unique because it bears the signatures of some of the world's most famous rock stars etched across its body. It is signed by a total of 19 artists, including Jimmy Page, Mick Jagger, Eric Clapton, Keith Richards, Brian May, David Gilmour, Jeff Beck, Liam Gallagher, Angus and Malcolm Young, and Bryan Adams. Reach Out to Asia was auctioned by Sotheby's in 2015 for $2.7 million, becoming the most expensive guitar ever sold in history. The luxurious Fender Stratocaster Reach Out to Asia was auctioned in Doha, Qatar, at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel and was purchased by Sheikh Mayasa Al Thani, a royal family in Qatar, for $1 million, later resold for $2.7 million. Overall, it was acquired for $3.7 million just for charitable causes. Quite an impressive figure, isn't it? This magnificent guitar is known for its bold white body and a series of silver accents around the neck and headstock. Its understated elegance underscores its place in remarkable and unique history. You won't find any of these guitars in your typical guitar shop. They are undoubtedly among the best guitars on earth, with guitars played by rock and roll legends like Jimi Hendrix and Eric Clapton. These are the top 10 most expensive guitars in the world. Keep following the Reels of Enigmas channel for more fascinating updates.